All right. Let me tell you about Paul Tully. Let me tell you about Paul. I just wanted, this is a man who loves what he does. Okay. Loves what he does. When I was in the past years walking people around the office and showing them all the private offices and that stuff, Paul was basically the most eager person to jump out and be like, hey, how can I help you? Are you doing okay? You got any questions? Right? I love Keller Williams. This is so great. Let me show you all the things that I'm doing. And he just had an amazing energy. And quite frankly, that's why he's had the success he's had. So I want to introduce Paul Tully to you guys. He has been in the business for 2-ish years. Is that right?
I got my license when I was 21, but I started real estate when I was 22. And I just turned 25.
You're breaking up just a tiny bit. Say that one more time.
I got my license when I was 21, but then I didn't start real estate until I was 22, and I just turned 25 this year.
Just turned 25 this year. All right. All right, Paul, this guy is, I want you to just kind of briefly describe your journey in real estate until you got to where you are, just in terms of your calling and the organization that you were part of before, and kind of what you're up to a little bit today. And then what I want to do is just kind of set the stage for the importance of prospecting and some of the systems and tools that you use, and just kind of a general overview of kind of the attitude that you bring to it all.
Yeah. So I got my license when I was 21. I started when I was 2 students. I went solo for about a year.
Here, stay a little closer to your camera.
Hold on, I got it bend down.
We got to get you some headsets because I know you can't sit still. You're like me.
Can you hear me good now, though?
Yeah, real good.
Okay. So I was 21 when I got licensed. I was working at a grocery store, and I was really pissed that I was working a lot harder than the people next to me. So that made me want to get into real estate because I wanted to get compensated for like my work effort, and my work ethic. So came into commission-based jobs, picked real estate, got my license, was in school, dropped out, went solo for about a year, and just cold called like crazy. And I was super naive, super young. And I would recommend anybody to join a team because that's what I did in year 2. That's when I joined Tim Hardiman's team, and cold called like crazy again. And we probably did like 20 million in volume. I was a lead ISA. I was cold calling expires, withdrawals for sale by owners.
What's an ISA? What's an ISA?
What that stands for? Inside sales agent. I don't even know what it stands for.
Just hand the man a phone, and he doesn't need to ask any more questions.
So Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, it was my job to just be on the phones, and I did that for 9 months. And I think I was like decent at it beforehand, but having Tim there, having the team there, and having this organization, Keller Williams, especially Bill, he put a lot of belief into me. Just having all of that there, like really took me to the next level. So then I went solo after that team. I wanted to make some big bucks. And then I decided I didn't want to practice like residential real estate anymore. I didn't want to work so much on the helping people buy and sell. I wanted to do a little bit more with investing. So I had a talk with Aubrey Bailey. He got me into flipping, and that's what I do now. So I flip homes with other people's money, and I cold call for that. I was looking at deals on the MLS. I was getting connected with wholesalers, and it just like I wasn't going anywhere fast. So I just decided to take things into my own hands and cold call and door knock and drop off letters. And that's what I do now. So does that answer the question, Bill? I forgot.
Yeah, I think so. I'll kind of guide you throughout the day. So tell me a little bit about what drew you to cold calling in the first place?
That's a good question. I was just like, I found like this opportunity. So someone told me like nobody cold calls. So as soon as I heard them say that, a light kind of went off in my head, because I think any like aspect of any business, the least traveled path is where the most success is to be found. So someone told me like nobody cold calls, nobody door knocks. I was like, this is an amazing opportunity. Like I need to do this. Started doing it, and it does a lot more for you than any other avenue of prospecting. Like it builds character, it brings all your insecurities to the light for you to deal with them. And I just think in any market, up or down, an active prospector is going to survive. So someone who's cold calling and door knocking, it doesn't matter if they're like, it's '08 right now. Like if you're cold calling and door knocking, you're going to get business. So
Walk me through what you mean by bringing your insecurities to light. You don't have to go into any of your details.
oh, yeah. I'm more than happy to. It's nerve wracking. I like just going up to someone's door as a 22-year-old and asking them, do you want to sell your home because I want to help you sell it? It kind of just brings everything like that you can think of wrong to like the front of your like head. Like you're just like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. I'm in a 5-piece suit. It's like 90 degrees outside. I'm sweating. This lady's looking at me like I'm a lunatic. And it's just like that over and over and over and over and over again. And then after being in the fire for so long, you kind of enjoy it. I've grown to enjoy it. I'm not the way I am now. I'm not the same way now that I was when I first started. I was terrified. Like I was absolutely terrified, but I love it.
Can you think of like that moment where you went from being terrified to just being like, this is so much fun and I'm going to do this every day?
Yeah, I guess it's like when you get your first check, really.
Yeah.
that just really, really helps. Because you see that it works. It's like, man, I've been door knocking, I've been cold calling, and nothing's been happening for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then you get a check and it's like $5,000, and it's like a quarter of my whole year's salary at Publix. And I'm just like, there's something going on here. Like I need to do more of this. So that's when it got to kind of become like a game to me. It's kind of, hey, like how quick can I get a deal? Like how many doors do I have to go knock? How many phone calls do I have to go make?
Walk me through that. Like, what do you mean by a game?
I really think a lot of this is not a lot. I think all of it is your mindset. So if you treat it like a game, it's you can play it like a game. Like I think a lot of people take it way too seriously, and it's a lot more detrimental to their success in real estate. So I started looking, like I had a coach at the time, and he said just look at everything as a test. Like imagine like there's like a real estate god like on your shoulder, and they're saying like you have to knock 100 doors if you want to lead. Like so if you stop at door 50 or door 75, you're not going to get that lead. But if you just like in your mind go, this is a test of like my strength and my endurance and my perseverance, and like success is on the other side of that 100th door. The first 99 doors didn't matter to me. So it literally became like a game. Like it doesn't matter what anyone said to me, the first 99 doors, in my mind, I just like the 100th door that I knocked on was like this golden door. And it's like, no matter like what they said, I was going to get a deal. So that's literally just how I looked at it. And that really helps you get through it. So it's kind of just playing mind games with yourself, and finding like what beliefs help you get through the hardest things that are going on in your day, which to me at the time was a cold call and door knocking.
I mean, it really sounds like mastery, right? The pursuit of mastery. It's my brain does this in this situation. That's not serving me so well. So I needed to do something different in this type of situation. And so I got to figure out how to approach this situation from mindset perspective so that I don't go deep in a hole when somebody says that they just aren't interested in selling their home. Like, it's no offense to you. They just don't want to sell their home.
Yeah, they're just rejecting the service. So
right. Walk me through like your some of your favorite scripts. What were some of the first off, like who did you tend to have the most success with or the most fun? FSBOs, withdrawals, expireds, circle prospecting, and tell me some of your favorite scripts.
Yeah, I want to first start off by saying everything works. I don't want anyone to get the like the silver bullet syndrome, or like they think like, oh, they're saying this on the phone, so that's why they're getting so much more businesses than I am, or they're calling this list, or everything works. If you call expireds, like I have this this ideology, like if you just make 1,000 calls a day, in 90 days, you won't be able to make 1,000 calls a day anymore because you've made so many calls that from your pure like effort, it's going to generate something. Like it's impossible. You cannot tell me that you've made like 1,000 calls a day for 90 days and nothing happened. it's just physically impossible. I haven't met a person who's done that. But in terms of my favorite script,
Before you go there, Paul, I just wanted to hammer that point home. Everything works if you work, and nothing works if you don't work.
that's
Right?
literally, that's like, that was,
Class dismissed.
yeah, I had a huge like silver bullet syndrome when I first started. And I was like trying to find this secret or trying to find like this thing or that thing. And it's nothing. It's
But
literally
if
just
I do enough stuff, maybe Tim will like pull out the secret script. Like there is no secret script. Just keep
there
doing
isn't. There really isn't. Yeah. Yeah.
that. All right, where have you had your most success or your most fun?
I've had my most fun from circle prospecting, believe it or not. I called expireds, I called withdrawals, I called for sale by owners every single day for 9 months. And then I did circle prospecting and I absolutely loved it. They're a lot colder because no one's hitting them. Like these people are not people that want to move today, tomorrow. They don't have the thought of moving. So an expired withdrawal for sale by owner, they're hot. Like they're hot off the press. Like you're going to get business like in the next 90 days for sure. Circle prospecting is a different game. It's relationship based. And that's why I love it. So I came across this gentleman, Ricky Carruth, huge fan of him and his, because I came from a very like high pressure sales environment, extremely high pressure, like to the point where it kind of like turned off people, like on the phones, at the doors. It was just like, yeah, it made me feel like a shark. And I thought it was cool at the time, but I don't think it's cool anymore. I think it's very cool to be personable and to build relationships with people. That's a lot cooler and that's a lot more sustainable in the business of real estate. But favorite script was Ricky Carruth, circle prospecting, and it literally went like this. It's the most simplest thing ever. You would just ring, 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 and then they would go, hello, and I would go, hello, this is Paul Tully with Keller Williams. How are you today? And they would go, I'm great. What's up? And then you talked about something that wasn't real estate at all. You would just, I'm enjoying this lovely weather today, aren't you? And a lot of people would throw them off. They're like, what? Like, who are you, dude? What are you talking to me about the weather for? But when they answer it, you know that there's a relationship there to be built. So after that, they'll be like, oh my gosh, the weather's great too. I love it too. And then you would say, look, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but there was and then insert a market statistic right here. There was a house right up the road from you on 123 Main Street. It sold in 7 days and 10% over list price. I wanted to call you and see if there was anything in the world that I could do for you. And most of the times they'd be like, no, because it's circle prospecting. They're not an expired, which honor for sell by owner. And you're looking for a no here, which is the beautiful thing. You don't like hearing no on expireds and withdrawals for sale by owners, but on the circle prospecting, you absolutely love to hear it. And then you would ask them, I think the next question was, well, if you were to make a move, is there an agent in the area that you would use? You're looking for another no here. And they're going to say no. And then you would say, perfect. I would love, and then you just state your intentions. I would love to stay in touch with you because life changes. And someday, at some time, something is going to happen in your life that is going to motivate you to move. I would love to be the person to help you make that move. Is that okay with you? I've never had, after I say it like that, I've never had someone be like, no. Like they might be like, yeah, sure. Like this kid's not going to call me back in 90 days. I am. But that was my favorite script and that's it.
So let's go back to the super basics, which are circle prospecting. For those, hopefully everyone knows what that is, but we'll cover it real fast. Basically, circle prospecting would be basically calling, let's say you have like that home that sold for above list price in a couple of days. Let's say that's the point in the middle, and you want to call the 1,000 people that live closest to that address. And maybe you want to let them know about a new listing, something just went under contract, something just closed. You want to invite them to an open house, something of that nature, right? And you get the data from Cole or somewhere else?
Well, I use Mojo. They have a neighborhood search feature. It's like $50 a month. And I was literally pulling 20,000 numbers a day. So it was more than enough for me to call. And I was huge on volume at the time. But Cole works. Rose is in the call. She uses Cole. That's phenomenal. Any data source, I don't have a specific one. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, Mojo's way better or this or that. As long as
again, if you make the calls, it works. And if you spend all day thinking about which site's going to be better data, then you're going to not make any calls. Right. Okay, so give us some idea of metrics. Like, how many calls did you have to make to get a nurture, or like what was your intention when you were making the calls? Were you, if you could explain what a nurture is, also like how did you know like that you won the day? What did you track? Why is that important? And give me some idea of what some of those statistics were.
Yeah. First off, you won the day if you woke up and you got on the phones. That's like the first like automatic win. A lot of agents have problems with that. It was one of them when I first started. But if you just got up and you actually just got on the phones, that's a win. But in terms of results, circle prospecting is not going to yield you as many like now results as expires, which are for sale by owners will. But it will blow up your business later on in the future. But like a metric, I'd say about every 1,000 calls, I got something. Like every 1,000, and now I was making 1,000 calls a day at the time. So every day I was getting something.
Were you using a triple line dialer?
Yeah. Triple line dialer, Mojo. I might not be huge on like the Mojo like data, but I preach by the Mojo dialer. The triple line, I won't use any other software. Not
Okay.
Volt, not Redx, Storm Dialer, Mojo triple line dialer. I will swear by that on my life.
Okay, tell us what Mojo triple line dialer is, please.
You said what?
Explain that to the folks that here that may not know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. So it's literally that. It's literally it's either a 1, 2, or 3 line dialer. I use the 3 line dialer, and you're literally tripling your effort. So imagine you're at home like hand dialing calls. Imagine like 2 other people next to you that like have this software and it's calling numbers automatically. That's literally what it is, like a triple line dialer. It's calling 3 people at one time. The first person to pick up, they get connected to, and then the other 2 people get a callback message that you record. And I can go over that with you guys after the call if you want.
And then if somebody picks up like right after, it's something like, this is Paul. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think we got a bad connection. I'll call you right back.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
And then as soon as the first call, you finish with the first call, it calls them right back. And you're like, gosh, I can hear you so much better now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So how much time does it take to make 1,000 dials?
1,000 dials would take at least like 8 hours. So you're on the phones all day, which I don't have a problem with, and you won't either once you realize like the magic in active prospecting, whether it's door knocking or cold calling. If you're making 1,000 calls a day, in 90 days, you are going to be a lot richer than you were before.
Yeah. I used to be friendly with this guy who lived in LA, and he didn't like the stress or the anxiety around meeting prospects, right? And he didn't want to be away from his family, throughout the day and at night. And so what he would do is he would wake up. At the time, this is a number of years ago, he was buying a lot of data, but he would buy data in LA, a town north of LA, and Las Vegas. And he would be on the phone in his pajamas every day from 8 to 12. And he would grow these huge databases in these 3 areas. He would refer 100% of the opportunities away to other agents. And as soon as 12 o'clock hit, he packed it in, shut his computer, and he was a family man the rest of the day. He's got no stresses. He's not dealing with any deadlines, any contingencies, none of that. And he was making well over 6 figures. You believe that's possible, right, Paul?
Absolutely. I actually, that's funny that you brought that up. When I first started, I actually had somebody bring that up to me. And I was like, at the time, I was like, no, I want to be an agent. I want to sell like a bunch of homes and build a team and whatnot. Why would I do that? But yes, I actually know a couple of people that do that as well. So, but yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah. It's what do you say is one of the most surprising things you've learned about the real estate business?
Wow, that's actually a really good question. I've never been asked that question since I started. One of the most surprising things. Surprising.
What percentage of agents do you think actually commit to daily active prospecting?
Less than 10%.
Easily less than 10%.
Yeah. I guess that's it. I guess people get into this business thinking it's like really easy money. and they think like, oh man, in a year I'm going to be driving a Ferrari and like have this huge database and be selling homes everywhere. And then they get into it, and then they just run around like a chicken with their head cut off because it's information overload. It's like, should I go door knocking? Should I go cold calling? Should I join a team? Should I not join a team? Should I join this company or that company? Or should I pay for this Zillow lead or that Trulia lead? It's literally one thing, and it's just working. That's literally it. So I guess that would be the biggest surprise, is that a lot of people get into this, and then a lot more get out of it, because it's not what they thought it was. But the people who stick with it, and they find their rhythm and they find their stride, I mean, more power to them, because they're probably sitting on a nice bank account.
So I'm going to ask you another question or two. Then, of course, everyone can ask questions too. And then I want to give you just some time to, like, you know how sometimes we're told, like, hey, if you get like a chance to be on like a soapbox and you can have the whole world is listening, and you want to teach the world the things that you know that you're the most passionate about, I want to hear what you want to teach people about the real estate business, because you have it in the number of phone calls you've probably made more prospecting calls than the almost certainly anyone in the office, and probably a good bit of us combined, right? Because it's not like how many years you've been in the business. It's, what do you do during the time that you're claiming to be full time,
Yeah,
right?
that's huge. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Right. So walk me through. I don't want to get too personal with you here, but
Yeah,
I
you can.
remember there was me and you had a lot of conversations as you were moving from the ISA role into like trying to figure out what you wanted to do with the rest of your life. And I kept saying to you, if you remember this, I kept saying, dude, just you're you're nailing the hardest part of the job. Just go meet
Yeah.
with some people,
Yeah.
right? Like, and you're like, oh, being an agent's hard. I don't know if I can do it. Like, I'm just really good on the. I was like, dude, stop. Just go talk to people. Like, walk us through like how that transformation happened in your mind. And then once you started like actually helping people buy and sell, like what epiphanies you had.
So I actually thought cold calling was the easiest part. So when I joined Tim's team, I was really scared of becoming an agent. I didn't know like what it was like meeting with people or the contracts and this and that. And quite frankly, that's actually the easiest part. So once like the 100th talk that we had together, once it finally clicked in my head, like that I was actually doing the hardest part, not the easiest part, it was kind of easy making the jump after that. And I guess that's like the biggest epiphany that I had, like the biggest like light bulb that went off, was that that mindset shift that I was doing the hardest part. And I didn't believe it. I actually believed that cold calling was the easiest part. So, I mean, meeting with people is easy now. I mean, it's like, it's so easy. I
Well,
guess that's,
like you said, like your approach with circle prospecting is just having conversations with people. And it's almost like nowadays the kind of world environment has made it where those conversations, like people are seeking those conversations much more than they used to. You probably noticed this. I at least from my perspective, um, people are a lot more likely to have a conversation with a stranger than they used to be.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we're ordering cars like off the internet and getting into them with strangers. Yeah. Oh yeah. We live in a completely different era. Uh,
Right. And
five,
now with COVID, you got people that are sitting in their home all day being lonely, and somebody calls on them on their phone. They're like, "Yeah, I'd love to talk about the weather with some stranger for 20
yeah.
minutes."
Yeah. That's actually huge. That's definitely a mindset thing that I take when I'm calling people or door knocking people, is that whoever I'm calling, they want me to call them. I'm literally telling myself that when I'm calling them, when the phone's ringing, or when I'm walking up the driveway and I'm about to knock on the door, I'm telling myself in my head like a million times, these people woke up this morning and they wanted me to come knock on their door and talk to them. And it makes making that like phone call that much easier. It makes going up to the door and knocking on it that much easier. So that's literally what this game is about to me, is just combining all of these things in your mind that make the hardest tasks the easiest. And then once you can do that, you kind of just become unstoppable. So
What advice do you have for an agent that is, not on track or, kind of floundering a little bit?
It's literally one thing. It's just prospecting. And you can just boil it down to 3 words, and it's talk to people. That's literally it. However you're doing it, whether you're DMing 1,000 people a day on Facebook, whether you're like calling 1,000 people a day, like I used to and still do, whether you're knocking on doors, whatever it is, you just need to talk to as many people as you possibly can. And I found the avenues that cold calling and door knocking are my favorite.
Okay.
So that's literally it. So who's ever off track, and it's crazy because you think that it's going to take a lot more to get on track, but it doesn't. It just takes 90 days of just consistently waking up and talking to people Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. That's literally it. That's it. And then you're going to be a lot more on track than like 50% of everyone who has a license, like in the United States. So.
Oh, for sure. For sure. What do you think about somebody who, let me see how I wanted to ask that question. Who has some thoughts or questions that they want to share while I try to formulate exactly what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Tawantas, we're going to call on you in just a second to do a little role play with Paul.
I love it. I think I'm actually so enjoying this conversation because he's so familiar with kind of like what I already have experienced in real estate. So I'm loving this call. And I got a question for you now, Paul. Yeah. Do you have your own team now? Have you sourced yourself out that way? Or are you still doing this every day, 1,000 calls a day? Tell me what your day look like now.
So I just switched over to the flipping homes. I just switched over and I'm completely solo. I will definitely be building a team for this and then building a real estate agent team as well. But yeah, the goal is to definitely step away from it and train people to become like the level that I'm at now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
See, this guy can't even wipe the smile off of his face. Rose, do you mind sharing just kind of, I feel like your demeanor, your attitude has changed a good bit over the last like week, 2 weeks of just spending some time with Paul. What have you learned?
Yeah, so I was really nervous to, he kind of influenced me to start hitting the phones, and I was very nervous at first, and now I just don't really care anymore, even after a week. So I called 100 people this morning and talked to 17 of them, and added 8 people to my database. So and last week I got somebody who wanted to sell. It was a lot for 1 week. It was crazy and it was very exciting. So yeah, so
wait, you've already called 100 people today?
Yeah, just today. And
you're using a triple line dialer as well?
Yeah, exact same thing that he's using.
Wow. How do you keep, that's awesome, Rose. That is so
I love it.
I know the question I was going to ask a second ago. So how do you keep track of all these people that you're flirting with and tracking, and hey, I'll call you in 2 weeks, hey, I'll call you in 3 months, hey, I'll call you on next Tuesday? Like, how do you keep track of it all?
Yeah, so I use Mojo. After being on Tim's team, I really learned a good like structure and process as to how to follow up them, when I should follow up with them, should I follow up with them. I learned all of that from being on Tim's team, from coaching with people. But I use Mojo 100%. I don't use any other software right now. That I use that for my CRM. It's got follow-ups, it's got appointments, it's got a calendar, it's got groups for hot leads, warm leads, cold leads, create my own groups. It's got people for not interested, track, like everything. And I've been using Mojo since I was 22. So I'm just super familiar with it and how to use it.
And somebody says, hey, never call me again, you just delete them out of that list or whatever, right?
Maybe.
Half the time, 2 weeks later, you can call and say, hey, this is Tully Paul.
Right. They have no idea it's me again. Yeah.
Right. It's so true. So true. Who else has some questions? Ethan, you there? I know you've done some calling, right? I don't know if he's there. What else do you want to say, Paul? What other advice do you have for an agent that is kind of getting their feet wet or stepping in, stepping into cold calling a little bit?
You're your worst enemy and you're your best friend. When I first started, I sabotaged myself way more than anybody else could have. I could have had 1,000 people call me today and tell me that I'm not going to make it, and it wasn't even a fraction of what I was doing to myself, like mentally. So I think it's really important that you get your mind right. I really think that's life, that's real estate, that's everything. I think it's all a mindset, and I think the world reflects what is on the inside of you. So if you're thinking positive things, something positive on the outside is eventually going to happen. If you're thinking negative things, something on the outside is like negative is eventually going to happen. So I really think thinking that you're here for these people for a reason, and you're a tool to these people, and you're a resource to these people, and these people need you. They don't want you, they need you. I think it's just going to make picking up the phone and making that call a lot easier, and knocking on the door a lot easier. So that's it. Just prospect actively every day. Don't stop doing it. Doesn't matter if you're making $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million, unless you're okay with where your business is at, obviously. But don't stop prospecting. So pick golden hours in the morning, 8 to 11. That's it for me. And then just work on your mindset. Just say the most like loving things you can to yourself. Like, I am the best agent, and people need me, and these people want me, and just love yourself to the utmost. Believe in yourself more than anyone else. And it's going to make this ride a lot easier.
No, I think that that's so important. I mean, I can almost guarantee that the first time somebody said to you, "Hey, Paul, I want you to say, I'm a great agent. I'm a great agent." You're like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
I had that talk with you many times. I've come to your office and sat down with you and talked to you for over 100 times. I mean, every time
Yeah,
I am
one out of every 100, he's like, "Hey, can I buy you some lunch?"
yeah. And, like, I'm just beating myself up. Like, no one has to do it for me. And you're like, dude, you're doing a great job. And I just didn't believe it. So that's literally it. It's just believing that you can't do it and saying extremely positive things to yourself. Self-talk mindset, as within, so without. So
As in, so without. What does that mean?
it means whatever you're thinking and feeling on the inside, it's going to be reflected in what we call this world in life. So whatever's going on up here is going to be reflected in your life. So I truly believe it, and it's known to be true.
What do you do now to like make yourself like keep you where you're at? Like, do you? I don't think you read. You probably listen to stuff, but
I actually
your ADD is too bad to read, isn't it?
I love reading investment books, business books. I think it's important to read a little bit of fiction here and there. Be just reading strictly.
Stay close. Stay close.
All right, but yeah, reading podcasts, and then I think you have to look at yourself as the greatest investment ever. Like, you can look at a house and be like, oh, this has a 15% cash on cash return. You can look at, okay, these leads I'm calling, for every 10 that we get, we have a like one appointment, so that's a 10% return. It doesn't matter. You're your greatest investment, so you need to constantly be investing in yourself. Whether it's reading, listening to podcasts. I'm a huge believer in people, so that I have like 8 coaches. I really do. They're not all real estate. Some are life. Some are like for yoga. Some are for running.
Right.
You got a yoga coach?
I do. I truly believe in people. That's how I learn the best. I growing up, I didn't learn how to like walk from a book. I learned from like my parents and whatnot, trying to stand me up, and I learned how to talk from them. I learned good things, maybe some bad words here and there from them. I didn't read that. So I'm a big believer in people. I think you should just find people who have exactly what you want and do whatever it takes to get near them and learn from them. And your life is going to
I love that. How did you, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I think we probably all experienced this before. Like, we have these people that kind of come in and out of our lives that aren't thinking the way that we need to be thinking in order to stay on the, because it's not hard to do what you're doing. I mean, I'm sorry, it is very hard to do what you're doing, right? To have a smile on your face 8-10 hours a day, to deal with a bunch of people turning you down, like, to say that basically the same thing over and over again. Like, how have you like gotten the bad people out of your world and surrounded yourself with the positive people?
Yeah, that's huge. I'm really glad you brought that up. But I agree with you. What I'm doing is not hard, because I'm doing the exact same thing I did 2-3 years ago, and it was a lot harder then than it is now. And the only thing that's changed is my mindset. So, I actually just got rid of a friend that was not on the same path as me, and it's really hard to get rid of people in your life that are like just energy vampires and they're like leeches. But it's going to make your life a whole lot better. I don't really know how to advise you on how to do it. But I do know that it's important to do. So however you can like find yourself to cope with losing a friend and whatnot. I don't even want to call him a friend. But yeah, I literally just did that 2 weeks ago. Someone was just really negative in my life, and getting rid of them at first like really hurt. It's the best feeling ever.
Can I push you on that? Like, how did that conversation go? Did you dumped them, or you just said, I'm not gonna pay attention to this guy?
I dumped him, man. We were actually together making cold calls, and just super negative. And it was bringing me down, and I was like, this isn't good. So I literally said, hey man, please don't ever talk to me again. I just like kind of like walked out. We exchanged some words. But I was like we're supposed to be buddies, and we're supposed to lift each other up and not bring each other down. And right now I really feel like you're bringing me down, and I don't want to be around that. So if you decide to change, then I'm more than welcome to have you back in my life again. But as of right now, like your consistent negativity is just, it's counterproductive to the mission that I'm achieving. So we're going to have to go separate ways. And it hurt for sure, because this is actually one of my best friends. It sucks, but this is going to sound kind of not inhumane, but cruel. You kind of have to look at yourself as a business and look at people as assets or liabilities. I know that's kind of cold, but when you start bringing the right people around your life and they start being an asset to your life, rather than a liability, someone who's just bringing you down and always saying bad things and never supporting you, it's going to make your goal a lot harder to achieve, as compared to having a bunch of people around you that this is why I love this office. Everyone in this office has believed in me more in like the past like year than anyone else ever has in my life. And that's literally why I recommend this office to everyone. Everyone I talk to, like the people here, I wouldn't go to another Keller Williams office. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. The people here have been the biggest assets to, let's just say I wouldn't be where I am right now if it was not for everyone at this office.
Yeah. And our office wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for many of your efforts, right?
You're so sweet, man.
Well, it's a win-win, right? There's people that, I'll give you an example. I don't recall the person's name, but let's say Agent X at Company Y comes in, and they've actually never seen an agent in a suit making calls before, because nobody at their other brokerage behaves that way.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I bring them in to see y'all's space, and you got trackers on the wall, and you got this program and that headset and that script and double monitors, and it's like the real deal. And they're like, whoa, this is like the big leagues, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't want you to think that you haven't made an impact. You absolutely have. What other advice do you have for agents?
Any specifics or just anything?
What do you guys want to hear him say?
Barista, talk to me.
Hi.
Hey,
So you had a mantra that I loved, and I loved it so much that when I went to go write it down, I didn't know what you said. It's something about your mindset. It's like self-taught mindset.
say it again.
It was a mantra that you said, and you said it more than once. I got cut off, and then I called back, and you were saying it again, and I liked it. But when I went to write it down, I just couldn't remember it. But it said something. I thought you said something about self-taught mindset.
Yeah. Was it as within, so without? I don't know if that was it. I said that.
That's it. But you said something before that. But I'm gonna jot that down because I can connect with that.
I'm trying to think of what I said. I really want to like help you remember so you can write it down.
It's like your self-talk is basically building up your mindset, right? It's either going to take you down based on the way you're letting that outside world get into you, or you're going to have these blockades up. If somebody says, oh, well, why are you bothering me for making this phone call? You're like, I'm bothering you because I got great information. And if you don't talk to me, you're going to end up with a lousy agent. So I'm calling you for purpose.
I didn't say this, but I do want to say this. Whenever you're in a situation and you're experiencing like increased anxiety or something you don't want to experience, it's important for you to tell yourself in that moment that whatever the voice in your head is saying is not you. That's not who you are. That's not what you're about. So it's important to identify that whenever you're in a situation, like when I'm door knocking and I'm having increased anxiety and my mind's going like, hey, just go home, just pack it up. Like you've knocked on enough doors. It's important to tell yourself in a situation like that, that voice is not you. So I think that's important. I'm trying to think of what else I said. I talked about like being tested. Like if you just view whenever you're prospecting or anything in real estate, when you're having a hard time and you feel like you're being challenged or tested, you are. And I like to believe like fictionally that there's like some real estate gods that are just looking down on us. And everyone in this call and every agent in real estate is a walking $1 million real estate agent. I truly, truly believe that. It's just a matter of them doing the right things at the right time. So I think whenever you're door knocking or cold calling or whatever you're doing and you're having a hard time, it's important for you to tell yourself also that the real estate gods are looking down on you and they're testing you to see if you're worthy of success. And if you step away from that pressure that you're feeling, then they're going to deem you as not worthy of the success. If you step into the fear and whatever you're feeling in that moment that you're uneasy with, if you step into that, it doesn't matter if you succeed at it. It's the principle that you faced it, then you are now worthy of the next level in real estate. So if you just continuously do that over and over and over, you're going to build a phenomenal character. Your mindset is going to grow tremendously. And the person that you become, you're going to fall in love with. If you just constantly keep stepping into the fear and say, I'm being tested. It doesn't matter if I succeed or fail at this. All that matters is that I'm going to step into it and I'm going to have courage doing it. So whether the phone call didn't go well, the fact that you made the phone call was the lesson. If you go door knock and they yell at you, the fact that you went to the door and knocked on it was the lesson. That was you passing the test. So it's all these little mind games that I just play with myself pretty much.
You know, interestingly enough, like if you're whatever you're going to tackle, you're going to have a moment like that, right? Let's say you want to be a painter. Like there's going to be a moment where you say, okay, well, how am I going to make any money? At some point, I'm going to have to sell one of these things.
Right.
Right. And so like when you go and you like go live with the sales website and you're like, I wonder if anyone's going to pay attention to this. Like, and then once you get a hit, you step into that next level of success. It's like you will, no matter what you are trying to get mastery at, there's always going to be a moment where you got to take one step forward to test yourself that in fact I am ready to take it to the next level, right?
Yeah.
So I think that lesson, I mean, like, let's say you fail at that and you say, okay, well, maybe real estate's not for me. I think I'll go be a mortgage guy. Hey, let me tell you something. It's the same damn job.
Yeah.
Okay. The only difference is our paychecks are smaller. Or being a lender that is.
Yeah.
Right. You're still going to have to cold call people. You're still going to have to prospect. You're still going to have to wine and dine real estate agents. You're going to still have to track everything. You're still going to have to use technology. You're still going to have to go on appointments, right?
Yeah.
So there's no difference. So you may as well just face the challenge in the business that gives you the most excitement.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing to note on is you have to have no expiration date to your effort. And what I mean by that is if you've been knocking for a week and nothing's happening, it's okay. That doesn't mean it's a time to give up. So when I had a coach tell me that, it blew my mind. He says, "When will you quit?" And I was like, "Well, if nothing happens in 3 months, I'm out." And he's like, "Okay, quit now. Don't wait 3 months. Quit now." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, this is my coach talking to me. He said, "I was door knocking, cold calling for 3 months and nothing happened. And I wanted to quit and I was about to quit. But the next month, my business blew up." So just like tell yourself that no matter what happens, your effort, coming in every single day, suit and tie, like 8 o'clock, making calls and just giving it your all, like you are going to die before you quit. So you could do it for a year or 2 years. That's not going to happen. But if you're willing to commit to that level, the world is your oyster in real estate, and you are going to be very, very rich if your work ethic has no expiration date.
Have you always felt that way, or was it real estate that kind of gave you some clarity around that?
No, yeah, real estate for sure. Just this call alone is it's a really huge moment for me in looking at the person that I've become over the past 4 years. I am a completely different person, and I never thought I would be this person. I really didn't.
What's that mean anyway? What do you mean by that?
Like when I was 21 and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be in 5 years. This is that. It's way better. It's way better than what I thought it was going to be. In the person that I am and the communication skills that I've built and the character traits that I now have. It's just from being in the trenches every day, cold calling, door knocking. It really does you good. It really does you good. That's why I recommend it. So whatever you're afraid of, like the person you want to become is on the other side of that. I was talking to Rose about this the other day. I went on a listing appointment and I was deathly terrified. I actually canceled on them twice after having the most successful cold call with them. I cold called them, got the listing appointment and everything, right? Like, woohoo, let's go on the listing appointment. I didn't have a listing presentation because I get really overwhelmed when you throw too much on my plate. So you just throw me one thing and I'm going to get really good at that. And then once I get really good at it, then I want to know the next thing. So when I first started real estate, my coach was like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do it. And I'm like, wait, stop. What's the first step? Just tell me the first step. Don't tell me 1 through 10. Just tell me the first step. And he was like, you need to get on the phones. You need a door knock. That's it. Prospect. And I was like, don't tell me anything else. Don't tell me. I will come to you when I need the second step. After cold calling for like a week, I actually set a record in this group. I cold called for 12 hours and I called, it was like 1,400 people and I had seven appointments. I set 7 appointments in one day. I took 2 listings that week at 7%. 2 of them were like land lot deals and the other 2 were like commercial. And I was like, okay, I need like a listing appointment. I need something. And I didn't have it memorized. So I canceled on them twice. I told this coach at the time, I said, my biggest fear, like my pleasure was money. So he said, if you don't go on the listing appointment now, you owe me $500. And I went because I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. I didn't have the listing presentation memorized. I printed it out and read it off to them. I literally had a piece of paper, and I'm just like, okay, perfect. Are you guys ready to sell? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, got it. Next question. That's literally, I'm dripping sweat. I'm red. They're looking at me like, who is this in our house? Get out. And it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I've never felt a more like urge to get out of a situation than that moment, but I stayed in it. Like I stayed in the moment and I soaked in the feeling and I just breathed. Like I was just like, and when I left, I felt like I just unlocked a cheat code to life. Like that feeling was so liberating to just face that fear. And I didn't get it. I was extremely embarrassed. But literally as I walked out the door and they said like, have a great day, I lost like 1,000,000 pounds. I felt weightless. I literally felt like I could walk on water. So I don't know why I'm going on this rant, but it's really important for you guys to just like face the fear. Yeah. It's really important for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's huge. That's huge. And that's why like this Wednesday, we're doing a group Bold 100, right? So we're pushing everyone to make 100 contacts, and 100 is clearly more than the majority of people make in a day. And it's like, once you've been stretched, you can't unstretch yourself. Like once you know that it's possible, you cannot look me in the face and tell me it's not possible.
Yeah, that's huge. That's good that you bring that up. I remember when I was training with Tim and we were running like half marathons and training for marathons. When I first started, I couldn't run a mile. I could not run a mile like nonstop. But I was also sprinting to like my absolute fullest. So I was gassed out like half a mile in. 3 months later, I ran 12 miles. And then we were doing that every morning. Like at 4 o'clock in the morning, we were here at the office. We ran half marathons before like work. But 3 months before, I couldn't run a mile. So once you like get to running 12 miles, running a mile is nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. It is literally nothing. But when you first start, it's everything. Like you can't do it. Like I couldn't do it. So I think that's like really huge. And I feel like that's really how like the brain works, at least for me. That when I do something, like you said, once you stretch it, you can't unstretch it. Once I ran 12 miles, the way I looked at a mile was like nothing. It was, yeah. So once you make 1,000 calls, because I remember the first day I made 1,000 calls, I thought I was going to die. I was like, oh my gosh, I have not used the bathroom. I haven't eaten food. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to die. Like, this is ridiculous. After I did it, like that moment of completing it, it just got that much easier. And now I can make 1,000 calls in a day. Like it's nothing. So
it's same thing with like an appointment. Like you set 7 appointments in a day and you pack it in that day and you're like, this dude's only asking me to make 1 a week.
Yeah.
I'll make 6 figures. Like, this is nothing.
Yeah. So I think our mind is really good at playing tricks on us, and we just have to be a little bit better at disproving those tricks, for sure.
I love that. Okay, well, we got just a couple minutes left. Does anyone have any comments for Paul?
Yes, please.
Questions,
anything, absolutely anything.
I just want to say again how much I really appreciate this call. Talking, Paul, I think what you've highlighted to me is kind of like what all of us have to face like every day, like the real understanding of like getting up consistently, going after what you want, the same mindset, and you stretching yourself with 1,000 calls a day is just unbelievable. But at the same token, it just sets like another standard to say this is what you have to do to be able to get what you want. So I appreciate you taking out your time to get on this call today. I think it was very motivating.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming in and tuning in, and I appreciate your appreciation. So
I love it. Love it. Anyone else? Any other thoughts, comments, feedback? Paul, I bet, one thing that I find is really interesting is, because I've made like, I've talked to so many strangers and I've, done this for a long time. Like, I hate to say it this way, but like, I'm usually able to get what I want. Right?
Yeah.
Right. It's not just in like a real estate context. Like, if like my wife might have trouble with like some type of vendor, like somebody's not returning her phone call back, and I'll get the person on the phone. I'll get exactly what I want, exactly when I want it, because I know how to massage people, right? I'm not taking advantage of anyone, but I know how to do what I need to do to get what is in the best interest of everybody, right? I bet you just have a ton of fun sometimes with business people and with people that work in other arenas and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I never viewed communication as a skill. Talking to people is one of the most valuable skills if not in my opinion, the most valuable skill someone can possess. I want to make a note on what Tawanta said. Just like making like the sheer action of just like coming in every day and showing up. I used to like have these ups and downs when I first started. I would like make 1,000 calls a day and then not work like a whole week, and then make like 1,000 calls a day and then not work like a whole week. I think it's more important and it's better if you just made 100 calls a day, but you did that every day. That to me is more important. Like I was reading this investment book and it was like, you have this one guy who's dumping like $10,000 a year, but only once a year into like his 401k or IRA or whatever, an investment account. And you have a guy who's investing like $100 a day, every day. And it's like, who in the long run builds a bigger account? And it was the guy who did it consistently every day. So I don't want you guys to like, because it took me a long time to get to the point where I could comfortably make 1,000 calls a day. I don't want you guys to think I just woke up one day and did it. It was a struggle. It was very, very hard. But you get there by just consistently doing it. And I was very inconsistent when I first started off. So I would rather you guys just make 100 calls a day, every day, Monday through Friday, this week, next week, the week after that. I would much rather you guys do that than make 1,000 calls today and then not touch the phone for a week. So, and it doesn't even have to be 100. It can be 20. It could be just getting up, making one call and be like, I did it. I made a call. And then the next day making 10, and the next day making 50, and then building up. But don't do what I did, because I burnt myself out very quickly in the beginning, super anxious, super eager. And I was like, I want to make like 2,000 calls today. And I burned myself out and I paid for it heavily. So just wake up, be calm, be cool, be collected, make 100 calls today, the next day, the next day, the next day, and slowly progress. And you're going to be much better off.
So, all right, I got one last question for you, Paul. Should I like learn scripts and stuff? Is that something that would be helpful?
Yeah, scripts are extremely important. It doesn't matter what script it is, who it's by or whatnot. The basis of a script, in my opinion, is for bringing someone to the idea of getting someone from point A to point B. That's all it is. That's all it is. Because if I went off on the street right here behind me and I picked someone off the street and put them on the phone with no script, they wouldn't know what to ask them. But what you're asking them is not as important as knowing why you're asking them what you're asking them. The concept of a script is guiding someone from point A to point B. That's the importance of a script. It doesn't matter if it says this or it says that or blah, blah, blah. Just master getting on the phone with people and using the script as a guide. Like, okay, if you were to move, where would you move? Okay, why are you making this move? Okay, do you have a mortgage? And then you're collecting information, but it's a map, and you're guiding the person on the other side of the phone, and it's your job as the salesman, as the agent, to guide them to that destination. So that's literally all a script is guiding people from point A to point B. It doesn't matter what you're using or whatnot, but yes, scripts are extremely important. Just pick one, master it. Don't change it. Don't change it when you first get it. Don't do it. I talked to Rose about this the other day. It's in the book. When you get something in real estate and you change it, when you get it, what you did is you just flipped the foundation of what you just got on its head. You literally turned it upside down, and now you're building something on a bad foundation. So master the script and then change it. Make 5,000 phone calls with the script and then change it. Say, I want to change this word, or I want to take this question out. But yes, scripts are important and they are a guide.
Love it. Love it. Okay. I think we're probably good. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
Yeah. Any questions? You guys can take my number, call me, text me. I am more than willing to come make cold calls with you.
Yeah. Paul's in the room pretty much every day. Just making it happen, putting on his headset and doing his thing, showing you how to use Mojo, showing you how to keep track of all the organization behind the scenes. Paul, I'm grateful to have known you over the last couple of years, and it is quite a difference, to be perfectly frank with you, from the day you walked in this building. And I'm proud of you. You've done great things, and I'm glad you're back. And I love that you have found your little niche, and I'm excited to see where it takes us.
I really appreciate that. And I look forward to having another call like this and talking to you in another year and seeing where we've gone then. But if anybody wants my number, or they want to come to the office and make calls with me, or if you want me to come to where you're at, I'm telling you, 1 hour with me, I will help you get through any fears you have, and get calling or knocking or whatever you want to do. I promise. So I'm more than willing to you guys DM me on Facebook, take my number, email, whatever. Yeah. Let me go ahead and put all that in the chat. This is my email. This is my number. And then this is my Facebook. Yeah, Paul Tully, 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 add me on Facebook. I'm in a suit, add me, DM me, and let's get together. Let's make some cold calls. Let's help you get over your fears. Let's get you making some money, because it's not hard. It's up here. So
There you go. Thanks for everything, Paul. I appreciate your time today. And if anyone needs help getting a hold of Paul, please let me know. And we'll see you soon. Have a great day.